Welcome to another episode of At This Time. Actually, it's not another episode. It's the first episode of At This Time. Eric DeSobe here. Excited to be joined by my guest, MaryEllen Veliz. We're talking talent. Why are we doing this podcast in general, talking talent? Well, I've been in the talent space a long time, since 2010. My job is to interview people, find people, build teams, talk to people, negotiate salaries, design processes, all the things. I'm doing it so long, I want to talk to other people who are doing it, learn some stuff for myself, tips and tricks, steal some things, hear some funny stories about people's misadventures in the talent world, both from folks who are recruiting, trying to find people, do it for a living, but also some other folks who occasionally have to hire for their teams or occasionally are candidates trying to get jobs, all those things. Our guest today, MaryEllen, has been on a couple of those sides, both hiring and being a candidate, and she's a great podcast guest. And the inaugural one, MaryEllen, what are you thinking coming on the first episode of a podcast? Why are you here?
I'm here because you asked me to be,
All
and
right.
I
Close enough.
show up when I commit.
You do. You are very thoughtful. All right.
Yeah.
So you and I have talked town a lot over the years.
Yeah.
You've done some job hunts that I've given you good advice, bad advice, advice that didn't work, kind of all the above. What do you remember about some of your misadventures talking to me about talent?
There's a couple good stories. I think the first one that comes to mind is you're actually the person who helped me do my very first salary negotiation.
Oh, how did it go? How much did I get you? No,
$0.
it didn't work. Why not? Why didn't it work? Did you follow my advice
It
to the
didn't work. I followed your advice to a T. Half of the battle really was convincing me to do it. You have so much power in interviewing and applying and really always negotiating for what you need. And so half the battle was getting me to do it, and I did it. So let's take that as a win. I'd never negotiated a salary before. It just wasn't in a space that was
What
really
was
common.
the gap you were trying to close or the amount you're trying to get? Do you remember? You just like
I don't
like 10K, 20K? Was it even something like that?
even know. It was. I don't even remember, and I don't even
I
think it was
couldn't even
that.
get you a couple grand more. Jeez.
Couldn't even give me. No, I got nothing. I
Nothing.
was
Nothing.
firmly told that that is the
Glad they didn't
range.
pull the offer. Okay.
I sent that email, anxiety inducing, hit send, and then you wait until they decide. But that was a
Okay. So on the anxiety producing part, obviously the old white male privilege speaking here, and white men are very good at asking for insane amounts of money when they probably don't deserve it. But where was the anxiety coming from? You're talented. Was there cultural reasons, other reasons? Like what was going on there?
I think some of it is one cultural. I think that in Latino cultures, we don't talk about money. In fact, I grew up being told never tell anyone ever how much you make.
Interesting.
It's like taboo. In fact, if we're talking like all these fun subjects, you were the first person I think I ever told my salary to, like 5 years ago, because you made me. I remember you kind
You got to
of
know the number. You have to know the number, right? Yeah, exactly.
you were really pushy, and I was like, no one's supposed to know this, and you were like, no, salary transparency. You have to tell me so we can keep having these conversations. And again, it took a lot because I did not want to tell you, and so I think a little bit of it is culture, like keeping that's very private information, and I think second is just
Mhm.
when you're not really taught how to show up in the space where you do put your worth on the line and say, like, this is exact, I know my worth, can you match this? It's difficult to do for the very first time. No matter how long you've been in the industry, no matter how seasoned a professional was, no matter if you've been even a manager for many many years, like I've been, it's just something I was foreign to me.
So being older, I think it's harder to negotiate before you have the job. So in that job offer stage, or once you have been in a place for a while and you're asking for a raise with people you know.
I think for me, it's people I know.
Yeah, there are a lot more emotions and politics potentially.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really good at the cold ask. Like I'm like, it's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal. I don't know them that well. Like the cold call, the cold ask, the cold email is a lot easier than me. But once I know you, I'm like, oh no, this is. I mean, it's just a combination of emotions.
So I guess the salary transparency laws didn't quite exist in the same way when you were doing this a couple of years ago. For the most part, in California where we are, but other states too have been started actually listing like this is the salary range, and maybe we bring you in at the median, maybe we bring you in somewhere else. Do you feel like that's made a difference? Is that raised all boats, and you feel like people have more confidence now negotiating? Would you have more confidence in your next job from the jump, like putting out there, this is what I want, end all be all?
I think so. I think there are very few positions that I see posted either at my own company, but really just like in the industry that I work with that lack those details. I think folks are knowing that they really have to live their values. And I know I'd be more comfortable these days with really talking about that.
Yeah, having done it so long now with the transparent stuff, for the most part, been helpful. What's tricky for us is we do a pretty sizable range that's listed on the JD, and then we have a line or two about traditionally or typically we bring in new hires at about the median, and we give some reasons why. Some of that is equity based for the team members we already have. You're bringing in because that was happening prior. A lot of new hires were coming in and then like way above folks who've been there for a good amount of time, and it was causing a lot of challenges. So the median is like a good starting point. Of course, then everyone feels like through the process I've demonstrated that I'm sure he's well above the median, and you have some back and forth. But yeah, it's such a better conversation for me to have with that structure there. And in the end of the day, I'm like, get your money. So make your ask, see what
Hey,
happens.
on his money.
Just try to do it respectfully. I appreciate the hustle. Nothing personal to me or other more often than not. So yeah, there's our advice for today on at this time, get your money if you can. You've also started hiring more people, I guess, as you've gotten further in your career. Like, what is your current opinion of hiring? Is it total dread? Is it excitement? I'm building my fantasy football team of employees. Like, how do you think about it?
Well, I love building teams, but I think, and so much of this is you can build teams is one thing, but you also have to like recruit talent and really like build a pipeline of talent to like find your crew. And so, I think there's always several stages for me. It's like building the pipeline, which I'm kind of doing right now, and then, finding the right fit and then taking them and kind of coaching them. I so enjoy the coaching part, the teaching part, the training part. And so I think for me, it's kind of a multiple steps to get to where you want to be.
Well, so I feel like the world you're in, which is a little political, a little bit of technology, those kind of things. Some of the events you described to me are very schmoozy. Is there a lot of like, hey, come work for me, or you don't know what you're missing? Like, is there a lot of that from all the different companies trying to get at everybody? Like, how does that work?
That definitely happens a little bit. You want the best talent. We want to attract the right talent. We want to attract top talent. We really want people to come want to be part of really successful teams. And some of that is knowing that there are multiple people out there kind of shopping or among the same folks, and really trying to, woo candidates that this is going to be something that ends up being really rewarding for them. And so that definitely comes with part of it. I do enjoy when I get to actually meet candidates in person, even though I work on a team that is entirely remote and spread across the country. And so if I get to interview in person or meet them in person before they start the interview process, I find that's always really helpful for folks to feel comfortable, to understand the team culture, and want to be.
So, what's your reaction when people sidle up to you and be like, "Yo, you should come work for me"?
But when they do that to me, the funny thing
You try to
is,
laugh it off? Do you try to let it ride? What do you do?
I would say I actually awkward laugh it off because it happens to me quite often. Not, I
Okay.
mean, not quite often, but like I feel like there are multiple instances. People like to do it in front of like my manager too, which is
Do
is
they
really
know that the person's your manager?
oh yeah, they like do it as a joke. And you like kind of you're in a conversation and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to steal her from you." And then it just even gets more awkward because everyone's kind of laughing and half joking. I hate that. I hate the awkwardness. It's just terrible. But usually when people make those comments, I awkwardly laugh it off because I know I'm like, I don't want to work at your place. Um, but I'm like, no, but it's a
So,
compliment.
do you ever do that to anybody that you want to come work with you?
Fake offer people and like,
Not fake. You like go and like whisper, sidle up and like, "Hey, come work with me."
I mean, if they're top talent, I will
You
I
go
will
after
call.
'em? Do you
I will
slide
look.
in their you slide in their LinkedIn DMs and trying to get
I
at them?
I'm not really a LinkedIn DMer. I know there's a lot of people, especially in sales, that do that. I'm more of a like, I'm gonna call you on the phone and let's talk.
Huh.
That is, I think
What do you
phone.
say when you call them?
Hey, just it's a conversation. It's really just exploring what are their priorities right now, what are they most proud of right now, what are they working on right now, and seeing if there is a willingness or an openness to new opportunities. And I think that happens a lot through conversation and not necessarily like a message just saying you're looking for a new job. Hey, I got an opening. You want to apply? Half the battle is you post a job or you send it around to 20 people, you're one person is going to apply. You really have to, in my opinion, tap the right people, encourage folks to apply, and kind of almost ask them several times. Like it's kind of like I equate it when you're talking about people running for office, because yes, I do work in politics. Like if you want the right candidate, you have to ask them over and over again, like, is this something you would do? And I think you should.
Said. All right. So in this episode, we learned get your money,
Yeah.
hound people, ask them, be a part of you, and for you, your homework is to work on your LinkedIn DM skills. trying to slide up in there. And I'm happy to show you how to do that because I did so successfully coach you on negotiating. That was a win.
But to say, the other thing we learned is do not take negotiation advice from Eric DeSobe. Just kidding. He won't get you any more money.
All right. Well, take this advice, everybody. Listen to At This Time podcast. We're excited to be out into the world. You can find us all the places you get your podcast, including now YouTube. We're in video, looking really sharp in our 4K ring light environments. Of course, follow us on the socials and all the places. Tell your friends. And if you ever want to be a guest, just hit us up on Instagram. We'll make it happen. Thanks for listening. Good luck out in the job seeking talent world. Talk to you soon.